Well, welcome back to the 180 blog. You know, I started off the Inside to the Book of 180 video with Chatsworth. Perhaps I should have started off with Irvine. As I talk about in my book, this is where I grew up. So I happened to be down here for a conference this weekend and drove by, or I'm here in front of, the first house that I remember as a little kid. So, you know, I make some comments about Orange County being, in my opinion, kind of the WASP capital of the world. But you know what, looking at my first house that I grew up in, and I'm going to go to a couple others, I have so many fond memories of this place, as running around as a little kid, and it actually kind of makes me a little choked up thinking about it. There's also a few bad memories. You know, I'm thinking about some incidents with my dad, how you know, he was very abusive with my brother and I, starting back in my childhood memories at this house. But with that said, here is the first house in Orange County in Turtle Rock, Irvine, California, where I grew up. There was the pool area that I actually learned to swim, community pool, just down the street, which we lived right down here. Walking distance, our babysitter would walk us up here. Not the babysitter that I talk about in the book, I'll point out his house, and this was our park. Very sweet. There was another park just down the street. This was actually my favorite park. As a little kid, we used to play, obviously, football and all kinds of sports right here. God, I love this park. I wish this was next to my house now. Here I'm in front of the second home that we lived in while here in Irvine in Turtle Rock, and this house was a bigger home. My dad had, I guess, made some money, and we moved up to this house, which was walking distance from our first house, but definitely a bigger home, and considered one of the best areas within this little community. I had some actually some very strange memories in this house, from which I didn't talk about in the book, and I actually may choose to edit this part out of this blog, this video, with my editors, but a lot of real ghost stories that, for any of those that want to hear more about, I'm not going to go into it in the blog. I'm happy to share with you, but that all my family would be a testimony to, as far as some crazy things that happened in this house. One of the things I'll point out over here, which is 2 doors over, was that the babysitter that I talk about, that unfortunately creepy babysitter, that we had those events that took place early on in the story of 180. But here's that house. It's actually been remodeled. Didn't have this fence in front of it. And right there was that babysitter that I talk about. What was cool about this house is we had access up to these hills, and I remember fondly with my Uncle Donald, who was, you know, who unfortunately just passed away last year, and, you know, I don't know, if there's comments, did he die of suicide, did he die of an overdose from Oxycontin, I don't know, but bottom line is, for those of you watching that knew my Uncle Donald, I miss him so much. It dawned on me after I videotaped the Chatsworth segment. I was claiming one of the schoolyards to be my elementary school. That actually wasn't. It was my junior high school. I thought about it later. I thought, wait a second, that wasn't my elementary. So here's an edit to that. Going back to the Chatsworth, that was my junior high school. Here was my first of 2 elementary schools, still here in Irvine. And this was such a, I mean, this is, I think, is the quintessential perfect little elementary school for any kid. It was just, it's clean, there's grass, it's just great. So I'm going to scan across here quickly. Over here, baseball. I mean, it's like the perfect little elementary school. God, I love this. Here's where I learned how to play basketball, baseball. There were some of my soccer events over there on the weekends. Just what a cute school. It didn't dawn on me until I walked up to this place that I'm filming right now, how many events in my life took place that were pretty significant, from my first kiss to my, actually not my first fist fight. I was going to say my first fist fight, but that was before this, living here in the 3rd grade. And actually one of the fights that I had with my brother, which was right over there, was the first time, Brett, I thought, oh no, I think you might be tougher than me. That was an awakening moment for an older brother to have with his younger brother. Anyhow, but right behind me is the townhouse that we lived in when my dad left. This was the chapter that I talk about. In fact, I'll point out here, this was the sliding glass door right over here where my dad threw it open when I was banging to try to get into this townhouse here. And my dad threw me into the room, literally, hit a chair, was unconscious, and that's when Child Services came. And I didn't see my dad. My brother and I didn't see my dad, I forget how many years. I think it was like 7 or 8 years. And that actually was my bedroom right up there, and that was my parents' bedroom, or my mom's bedroom, pardon me, there. This was my first girlfriend. Her name was Jenny. She lived right there. She was in the 6th grade and I was in the 3rd. And then this is where we had our first kiss. This is where my brother right over here. All of a sudden I thought, oh no, this guy's pretty tough. This was one of our good friends, Michael. So this whole little area, although it was one of the smaller places as far as that I lived, I mean, can you imagine how cool this was? Like, all of our friends lived all around this little community here, from bike riding and everything. Just capture the flag and that special first kiss moment here. But we used to always come here and just kind of hang out, all the kids, at the end of the day and after school. So I had a ton of good times here.